in the country, Gambega, has once again handed over 40 tons of medical and surgical supplies on behalf of the Coca-Cola Africa Foundation in partnership with MedShare to Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. The supply consists of gloves, hospital beds, adhesives, crutches, wheelchairs, and surgical items worth over $1 million and are meant to support the hospital's drive in making health service delivery accessible to everybody.
I am very happy to be receiving this donation on behalf of health sector in general and this hospital in particular.
It is the third donation which the country's principal referral hospital has received from MedShare within 3 years. The Minister of Health and Social Welfare believes that the benevolence would help address health-related problems in the country.
Once from here, I would advise make an inventory, distribute and use. We don't have to keep it to get expensive. These are very expensive materials, and over 40 countries are in need of these materials.
Since the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital continues to provide fundamental services for the Gambian population, these consignments could also greatly help augment the development the hospital is currently undergoing.
We, myself and the former Chief Medical Director, have worked closely with the donors in identifying the medical supplies we are about to receive today. Hence, I have no doubt that they are going to be very useful to the hospital.
This commitment is demonstrated in our various corporate social responsibility programs, such as construction of the first ever wastewater treatment plant inaugurated in February 2011, an investment that cost over $1 million in order to maintain a safe and friendly environment for our community. The Fanta Science and Mathematics Quiz competition to support and encourage science and technology education in the Gambia.
In a separate development, one Usman C., a clinical laboratory specialist in cytogenesis based in America, also donated digital blood pressure machines to the teaching hospital and Serekunda General Hospital. The donation came at a time when the health sectors are in dire need of such equipment, given the maternal cases they receive daily. As development partners continue to bestow generosity on the health sector, these and other assistance could greatly enable the country meet its development blueprints. Samuel Ba, GRTS.
Welcome back, and we apologize for that short break in transmission. We'll take our first break. Welcome back. In Libya, the Prime Minister has arrived at government headquarters shortly after being freed from a bizarre kidnapping. It is a confusing situation that is raising a lot of questions, such as, is Libya becoming a failed state more than 2 years after the ousting of longtime dictator Muammar Gaddafi? And in Egypt, the United States has partially cut its military aid to the military-backed government. We have more of these and other stories in this Deutsche Welle report.
Spokesman in Tripoli announced the ordeal was over and the Prime Minister was free again. Ali Zaidan was abducted from this heavily guarded hotel in Tripoli by members of an armed militia, who then held him for several hours.
A group of men arrived with a document from the Prosecutor General ordering the arrest of the Prime Minister. They were revolutionaries. They came in and captured the Prime Minister.
The Justice Ministry issued an immediate denial, saying no such arrest warrant existed. Zaidan, a longtime opponent of former Libyan ruler Muammar Gaddafi, lived for many years in exile, including in Germany. Since the end of 2012, he has headed the Libyan government, which continues to struggle against radical Islamists and tribal militias. Observers believe Ali Zaidan's kidnapping could be connected to the case of alleged al-Qaeda terrorist Abu Anas al-Libi, the suspected mastermind of the 1998 U.S. embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania. Zaidan's opponents accuse him of allowing U.S. special forces to capture al-Libi in Tripoli last Saturday and take him out of the country.
The U.S. says it's cutting military aid to Egypt by hundreds of millions of dollars over concerns about violence against civilian protesters. Washington said it would withhold shipments of military equipment until Egypt installs a democratically elected civilian government.
Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev has won a third term in office after a landslide victory in elections on Wednesday. Aliyev secured 85% of the vote, but his rivals have accused him of ballot stuffing and intimidating voters. They say they will take their objections to the country's constitutional court.
Europe is introducing a new border surveillance system that could help reduce fatalities among migrants heading to Europe. Lawmakers approved the Eurosur system on Thursday. It will speed up communication between authorities and help them assist migrant boats in distress. Last week, over 300 migrants drowned off the coast of Lampedusa.
In India, it may surprise you to learn that a significant number of sitting lawmakers are facing criminal charges because nothing bars them from serving in parliament. A recent Supreme Court ruling is changing things thanks to the anti-corruption crusade of an 85-year-old woman. CNN's Delhi correspondent has more on that in this story.
Scam. And after seeing this, how can you keep quiet?
85-year-old Lily Thomas never imagined a petition she filed 8 years ago in the Indian Supreme Court would one day put some of the country's most prominent politicians behind bars. Thomas's petition requested the court intervene to ban convicted lawmakers from serving in parliament. Why did you feel the need to file this petition?
But look at the condition of the parliament. So many criminals. The parliament is not a place for criminals to sit. They should be in the jail. No compromises.
30% of the lawmakers in the lower house of parliament face criminal charges, including rape and murder. But today, a proud moment for Thomas and a turning point for India. After the court ruled, the government had to act. In 72 hours, 3 powerful politicians were jailed in a country where corruption is rampant. It's a warning to all that the old ways will no longer be tolerated. Charismatic former cabinet minister Lalu Prasad Yadav, the first to go since the Supreme Court ruling, sentenced to 5 years for his involvement in a corruption scam 17 years ago.
This guy has got...
Electoral reform activists say the political system does a poor job of scrutinizing potential candidates.
Political parties, when they distribute tickets, they just want a candidate who can win elections, whatever means they use, doesn't matter. So the two main things that a candidate use to win elections, one is the muscle power and another one is money power.
All major Indian political parties were initially against the Supreme Court ruling. Several attempts were made to overturn it through an ordinance, a temporary legislation that bypasses Parliament. But then a dramatic about-face by the ruling Congress party after Rahul Gandhi, one of its most powerful leaders and potential candidate for Prime Minister, dissented.
My opinion on the ordinance is that it's complete nonsense and that it should be torn up and thrown out.
Now, the controversial legislation protecting convicted politicians has been withdrawn, and the timing couldn't have been more significant, coming as the country gears up for national elections early next year. For Thomas and millions of Indians demanding a cleaner government, there's a sense of change in the air.
Because it's high time that the politics is cleansed.
Samima Uras, CNN, New Delhi.
And before we go, a reminder of our headlines. The U.S. Secret Service have arrested 3 Gambians as an unruly gang chanting anti-government slogans forced its way into the Gambian embassy in Washington. Several National Assembly members have expressed solidarity with President Jammeh following the Gambia's withdrawal from the Common